Good evening. The time is approximately 2 in the morning on the 11th of October 2016. So I thought to myself, what better time to make my top 10 albums of 2015 video? So here I am, making it now. As with the video previous to this one, the 2014 top 10, these albums were not necessarily made or released in 2015, just ones that I listened to a lot that year, discovered that year, just sort of had a big impact on my year as far as listening to music goes. So, without further ado, the first album on the list, number 10, is somewhat disappointingly a Miley Cyrus album. Now, I don't think this album is especially amazing, but I did listen to it a good bit in the latter parts of 2015. Miley Cyrus is a little bit... yeah. So, you get what you get. But I really do like a lot of the sounds on this album. As far as instrumentation goes, I think she had the Flaming Lips, which are a psychedelic rock band, come and co-produce and co-write and etc. and play all the instruments and stuff, or a lot of them, on this album. And it makes for quite a strange mix of ridiculous lyrics, as expected from Miley, combined with psychedelic rock and bits of electronic here and there, and it's a weird album that is definitely acquired taste. But I seem to have acquired that taste and quite enjoyed listening to the album. So it is what it is. Number 9 on this list is... I have a CD for this one, which you can't see very well. Darius and Rotteen. I think I got a light here, but it's not working very much. Darius and Rotteen, Adventures with Tweesee. This album is basically like... I haven't actually listened to it for probably at all this year, so I've kind of forgotten what it's like, which is of the obvious downside of doing this video too late. But it's good. You can go get it in the links below. As with all of these albums on here, I forgot to mention, I'll provide links. Yeah, it's like psychedelic, electronic, just an interesting listen along those lines. Honestly, can't tell you much more about it because I've kind of forgotten how it sounds, but it was in my top 10 list that I've been meaning to do all this year, so trust me, it's good. Number 8 on the list is another one that I don't have the CD for because the CD for this one is a bit elusive. It does exist, but I discovered this album far too late to be able to get my hands on that sort of thing, and that's Blank Banshee 0 by Blank Banshee. A pretty fantastic album full of really, really good sampling work, sampling lots of bits and pieces from loads of sources. I couldn't really tell you what they were. This album apparently falls under vaporwave. It doesn't really sound all that much like vaporwave that I've typically heard. Like you typically associate vaporwave with slowed down, sort of nostalgic 90s, 80s songs and stuff like that, but this isn't really so much that as much as just taking lots of stuff, lots of bits of any sort of thing, really, and just making stuff out of it. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's very, very good. It's a very sort of indulgent, deep and atmospheric listen, and very interesting, and yeah, some masterful sampling going on. Highly recommend that one. as with everything on this list, because it's a favorites list. Number 7, the first comedy album on this list is by my good friend FESTKAKA, and this album is A Lot of Dogs, and it's really stupid. I listened to this so much near the beginning of last year. I can't believe it's on CD. I listened to this a lot at the beginning of last year, and it's basically just a handful, well, it's actually 12 tracks, but they're pretty short. A handful of tracks sampling dogs and about dogs, and it's really silly, and it's also really goofy and quite a compelling listen, honestly, for as dumb as it is. So yeah, good. Number 6 is another one that does not exist on CD, and I was part of making, but not entirely me. It's an album I made with my friends last year. FUK Ass Culture, which is a parody of UKF bass culture. And the whole album is a parody of UK bass culture. It's essentially a pseudo or faux live album designed to sound like it's been recorded in a club, and it basically takes the piss out of all sorts of EDM styles, and I listened to it a lot ever since its conception, and I love it to bits. And yeah, I made it with 5 or 6 or so other people, and yeah, it was a labor of love, and it certainly became one of my top listens of last year, so it had to make it into this list. Number 5, yet again another one I don't have the CD for. Apparently does exist. There's also artwork given, so you can make the CD yourself, all panels of the CD, but I haven't done that. I should get around to bootlegging and printing it out and doing it myself, but without further ado, At the Organ with Christopher Bose, by Christopher Bose. This dude is the wonderfully charming lead singer of the pirate metal band Ailstorm. And he put out this solo album, which is basically a session where he sits down at a just some little electronic organ thing, and seemingly ad-libs a bunch of really stupid songs without really knowing what he's playing. I'm pretty sure he's drinking at the same time, getting more progressively drunk as the album goes along, just sort of singing about anything, like beef and his grandmother and hats and David Tennant's hands. It's great. It's truly stupid, and I fully recommend listening to it if you want to listen to something bad and funny. Number 4. Back to more serious music now. Is The Lion's Roar. The Lion's Roar by First Aid Kit. This light really isn't helping, is it? It's dying. Yeah, The Lion's Roar by First Aid Kit. 2 girls from Sweden who I discovered late last year and picked up this album for Christmas. It's a collection of fairly somber and I wouldn't say depressing, but certainly down there kind of folk songs. Um, I mean, a few of them have sort of uplifting vibes, but for the most part, this album is quite not gloomy, but you know, it's good either way. If you like folk, I'm sure you've probably actually heard of these girls. If not, and you like folk music, you're in for a treat. It's really, really good. Lots of nice harmonies, lots of nice instrumentals, that sort of thing. Yeah, highly recommend that. I should probably stop saying that I highly recommend these albums, because that sort of applies for them all. Number 3 is, I've forgotten the name of it, that's how much I love it. My Dreams Dictate My Reality by SoKo. There's some good light. Yeah, this album's pretty interesting. Spans a kind of wide array of themes, or not themes, but like instrumental styles, but at the same time doesn't. It's an odd one. Like, it has a sort of punky snarl to it. It's kind of like early 90s sort of perhaps grunge rock and roll style, but also not. It's a hard one to explain. It's a mixed bag. It's a really nice CD case as well, and it's signed. Yeah. It's kind of hard to explain. It's got 80s vibes, it's got 90s vibes, it's got electronic vibes, it's got rock vibes, it's got chilled out vibes, it's got less chilled out vibes. It's a good mixed bag, but just sort of keeps the same consistency throughout, even though I've really made it sound like it doesn't. But it's also maybe in a bit of an acquired taste, so give it a try. We're on to number 2. We're nearly done. Number 2 is another pretty much fully electronic album. And I know there's probably people out there who don't like this album. I know particularly one person who does not like this album. It's Skrillex and Diplo present Jack U by Jack U, which is a very confusing album title. I believe, if I'm not wrong, the group is called Jack U, but the album is called Skrillex and Diplo present Jack U. Also, even more confusingly, it just says Skrillex and Diplo present Jack on the spine. So well done to whoever put the design for this one together. Nice. Anyway, yeah, it's mostly trap. I think you'd call this trap. Lots of featured artists on it. In fact, it seems like all of the tracks feature different artists on it, except for the first intro track, which doesn't really count. Yeah, just goofy, stupid, fun trap. I love it to bits. Yeah, and just listen to it a bunch throughout the whole year, really. It reminds me of traveling to and from my girlfriend's house, and also being there a bit. We listen to it in the car sometimes. So, yeah, fond memories attached to this one, and never really ceases to cheer me up because of its dumbness. And number 1, which is nothing like the rest of the albums on this list, is Lindemann with Skills in Pills. Now, I've got a few things to say about this album, and one of them is that even though it's number 1 on this list, and the album I listened to most last year, I wouldn't really call it that impressive. it was just somewhat compelling for me to listen to. For a bit of history, not history, but a bit of background or whatever, Lindemann is the surname of the guy singing here, Till Lindemann, who is the lead singer of Rammstein. It's basically a solo act by him, but also all the instrumentation is done by the guy behind the metal band. What are they fucking called? Pain, I think. I haven't really listened to any of their work or his work or whoever, but he seems to do a good job with the instrumentals on this album. Fairly standard, in fact I might even say dated metal styles on this, like sort of noughties style metal going on this album. But I really like it. All the themes on the album are, bar maybe one or two tracks, are about fetishes, kinks, and basically the weird fantasies of the singer who wrote all the lyrics. It's weird. Probably the main reason I kept listening to this album so much is because of the sort of dumb, in-your-face, I don't really care what I'm singing about, I'm gonna sing it anyway attitude. Which is just, yeah, that's what made it so compelling for me. So if you like Rammstein, if you like metal, and if you don't really care about the lyrics you're listening to, what they're about, or enjoy lyrics about ladyboys, obesity, catching women like fish, golden showers, abortions, then you'll love this album. So that is my top 10. I wanted to also give this album a bit of the limelight. This is basically what came as number 11 this year, but I also listened to it a lot, but it just didn't quite make it onto this list, is Lady Gaga's Art Pop. Not too much to say about this. It's just some electronic pop music that I quite liked, really, and listened to a good bit, but I didn't love it enough for it to come onto this list, unfortunately, but still good. So yeah, that's that. Okay, down below in the description will be, sorry about all the sniffing, by the way. I'm getting over Fresher's flu, which I'm not even a fresher, but I've got it. Down in the thing will be links to all of these albums, obviously. Yeah. I hope you enjoy them. You should go listen to them all. And that's it. Ooh.